I actually was at work in the break room and I was eating, but I flipped over the plate, like flipped it upside down. And I was eating on it upside down. And my coworker's like, what are you doing? I'm like, what in the world? Like, what? And she's like, Amanda, are you okay?
This week's guest is Amanda. I believe that Amanda is our first guest who is an ultra-endurance athlete. I met Amanda, like many of our guests, on social media, where she tells her story and sometimes talks about the show Stranger Things. Listening back to this episode made me very happy. I hope and believe you'll find her to be bright and honest, and her perspective as an endurance athlete to be very insightful. This is Dying to Tell You. Well, Amanda, thank you so much for joining us and for being part of this. I'm eager to hear your story. So maybe tell us who you are and where you are, sure. And then we can go from there, I guess.
Sure. My name is Amanda Melby, and I live in California, the central coast of California.
And what is the temperature there right now?
Oh, it's very overcast right now. Usually September and October are our summers, and it has been a really cold year. This year and last year have been both pretty cold. I miss like the sun.
Yeah, must be really hard living out there on the Central Coast. All right, so let's start with what was going on with you, like immediately before something started to happen that made you think something was wrong. So you were living your life. What were you doing? Yep. How were you spending your time? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I consider myself an ultra endurance athlete. So the weeks leading up, I was just heavy in training mode. And I guess to back up, I have a cardiologist in Los Angeles. It's a women's heart doctor. And I have an inherited risk of stroke. Both of my parents have had strokes. And so I was being tested at the Women's Heart Hospital. And I started to realize every time I stood up or sat down, any version of pressure change, I'd have to like blow my nose, like just kind of like pop your ears situation. Mm-hmm. And I, didn't think anything about it. And then that was a Friday. And then over the weekend, it just got a little worse. Kind of like every time I would stand up or sit down, the pressure would happen. I work at a dental office, and tons of people were talking about these sinus pressure headaches that week. So I was thinking, oh, that's what it is. The barometric pressure or whatever people were talking about. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, that makes sense.
Right.
I'm not someone to take medication often, but it warranted potentially doing Flonase. I was like, okay, maybe there's something going on. Sure. So that was Monday. And then Tuesday, I started to get these, again, pressure headaches. But then what was happening was I didn't know what it was at the time, but I was starting to have déjà vu moments. And it just was very strange to me. I'm like, wait, I've seen this before. I've heard this before. And I do hear about glioblastoma. That is one of the signs. I had no idea at the time, but now I think I understand it a lot more. I got really bad anxiety at work because I started to not be able to see my full screen at work, which made sense because of where my tumor was located. Again, I didn't know it during, but now I know the why. And so looking at my phone, looking at text messages, I just felt like I was going crazy because I couldn't see very well. And I just thought to myself, this is stress. This is there has to be a reason.
Hmm.
And then on Wednesday of that week, I actually was at work in the break room and I was eating, but I flipped over the plate, like flipped it upside down. And I was eating on it upside down. And my coworker's like, what are you doing? I'm
Uh-huh.
like, what in the world? Like, what? Oh my gosh. Like and she's like, Amanda, are you okay? And I go, yeah, I think I'm okay, but I have these headaches and I feel weird.
And
And
now I'm
then
eating on an upside down plate.
upside, but it gets even better. I leave the break room and I'm wearing flip flops in this moment. I completely walked out of my right shoe, went into the front office, and about 10 minutes later, my coworker Blake goes, Amanda, your shoe's in here. Like, how do you not know your shoe's missing? And I'm like, I am losing. Like, I am absolutely losing it at this moment.
Yeah, I've just got to stop
Yeah.
because,
Yeah.
so yeah, you're losing it, and
Absolutely.
and and did you just go home and have a night, and
I just,
or did you have more moments like that when you got home?
yes. Yes.
You said earlier the anxiety from not being able to see, was anxiety mounting as these things were happening? Were you
Oh, it
starting
was
to?
getting
Okay,
worse.
you were getting worried.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay,
And especially because the anxiety was worse, the deja vus were more frequent. And so
mm,
almost as the week progressed, every single symptom got worse. And so then I, yeah, I went to the break, or yeah, the break room happened. And then, so that was a Wednesday. Thursday, my coworkers are like, you need to go home. I don't know what's going on with you, but you're kind
wow,
of out of it. And I went to not the emergency room, but like a urgent care, like those clinics. And this guy comes in, he looks at me for maybe 3 minutes and he goes, it's TMJ. Here's some muscle relaxers. Just, go like on your way. And I thought to myself, I work for a dental office. I know this is not TMJ, but the lab coat guide tells you it's TMJ. So you're like, I guess it's TMJ.
did he know about the deja vu and the walking out of
All
your
of it.
shoe and the upside down
Yes.
plate?
Yes. He's like,
Okay.
you're just stressed. I go like, true, but I've never been this stressed before.
But you're only stressed because you're sitting there with an upside down plate, right? Having all these moments. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yes. Yes.
So you walk out with some medication for TMJ.
Yeah. It was some kind of muscle relaxer. And I'm thinking to myself, I know this is not TMJ. Like, I know this is not TMJ. And then Friday, I went back to work. I started to feel a little bit better. And I do think it's because my brain bandwidth was lower. And so it was kind of like I wasn't stressing out. I was sleeping a little bit more. So I think there
Sure.
was like a reprieve. And then Friday was okay. Saturday, I had my friend who's a massage therapist. He said, it does sound like stress. Let's do a massage and see. He's like, you are training a lot, so it could just be stress on your body. And then, so I really rested on Saturday. And then Sunday, I was training for a 5 mile hike and I almost fell, which was, I mean, I've fallen plenty of times on a hike, but
Yeah.
nothing that my leg was just like starting to give out. And I thought, lack of sleep, dehydration, electrolyte balance are off. You can reason, you're not thinking like, oh, this is like a
Right.
really big
Oh,
deal.
and now I have TMJ.
And now I have TMJ. No wonder I'm clenching all the time. And then, so I have this like Sunday ritual where I go for a hike. I always treat myself to a coconut milk latte. It's like my favorite little treat. And when I was in the line, my leg like buckled so much that I had to get out of line because I thought I was going to fall. And I thought, okay, again, electrolytes, something's wrong. Got my coconut milk latte, hallelujah. And then I was like, okay, I'm just going to do work from home, sit on my couch, and just do emails and bookkeeping work. So I did that for about 4 or 5 hours where I was just kind of sitting down. And then I go into my room off the couch, and my house is very small. And all of a sudden, my leg buckled again, my right leg buckled. And then so much that I fell like on all fours. And I just looked up at my partner and I said, we have to go to the hospital. I have no idea what's happening, but I have never fallen that wasn't warranted on like a hike by tripping on a rock or something like that. I've never just stood up and fell
Right.
ever.
In your
Yeah.
own bedroom. Right.
Ever. Yeah. Yeah.
And so your partner says, yes, finally, let's go to the emergency room.
Absolutely not. He's like, you're just stressed. You're fine. And then I could tell him he's just like so annoyed by me. He's like, good God, Amanda, take some days off. Like, and I go, Jesse, like, no, this is big. And you could just tell he's like, oh my gosh. And then I call my friend Larry, who's my massage therapist, but also one of my best friends. And he goes, Amanda, get to a hospital right now. Like, don't even mess with this. And he said, I could tell you were so tightly wound, but everything you're saying right now, he goes, I would rather have you have the most massive hospital bill and just know that everything's okay versus, just kind of sitting on it and like hoping it all goes away. And so Jesse and I go to the emergency room. And I mean, as fate would have it, no one was in there.
Oh.
And so,
it's a miracle.
Yes. And it's really kind of like, I would say I'm a pretty sensitive person, but in public, I'm not one to like publicly cry. And as I knew, well, on the ride to the hospital, I started to have a panic attack. And I've only had two in my life. I almost got hit by a car, which was one of them. And so they're always like triggered by something really big. And I started to have like this moment, like almost like my body knew something was very wrong. And so I was kind of like whimpering the whole car ride. And Jesse's like, what is happening? And I go, I don't know what's like something's wrong. And he again is like, you're an athlete, you're healthy. Like, of course, it has to be something. And I get to the kiosk where you kind of sign in and I'm just like fighting tears the whole time. And the lady's like, are you okay? And I go, I don't think I'm okay. So they get me in, and then they do a lot of testing at first. And the doctor's like, I know that you just were dismissed by someone on Thursday. So I really want to see what's going on. And so I was sitting on the table, or not the table, but the whatever that's called, the chair where you're laying down. And he goes, let me just get you up and let's have you stand up. And I did the neurological test, and then him and my partner's eyes just drop. And I go, what just happened? And the doctor said, we're going to need some imaging. We're definitely going to need an MRI, and we're definitely going to need a CT scan. And I'm thinking, for electrolytes? Like, I mean, at this point, I was like, I knew something was wrong, but I've never had any imaging done in my entire life. And so, so then I get both of them done because there was nobody in the waiting room. I was the only person there. And then, the doctor comes in, and I remember almost immediately the nurse turns around and just starts crying. And I'm like, oh, this is bad. Whatever this is really bad. And I'm like kind of shaking at this point because I'm thinking in the MRI, I very much was thinking this is the most biggest over exaggeration of my life. Like I'm spending $10,000 for a headache. Like, oh my
Mm-hmm.
gosh, I am not this person. And I remember when the doctor came in, he said out loud, I hate this part of my job. And I said, hey, what part of your job do you not like? And,
Right.
and he's like, and I'm like almost like jackhammering at this point, like shaking. I'm like, oh God, like, what do you mean? And so he said, if I were to take a guess, he said, I think we're looking at a glioma and you're going to have to get transferred to see a neurosurgeon. And I I remember very vividly going like, okay, this is bad. I think this is probably terminal, whatever they're about to tell me. And then I remember just almost in my head chanting cuz when I do long trainings and I don't want to hike or bike or walk anymore, I always just say a hundred more steps. And I keep
Mm-hmm.
telling myself until I stop, until I actually finish the mile or whatever it is. And I remember just thinking to myself, just breathe, that
Mm.
everything's going to be okay. And then I kept saying, what is the best possible outcome right now? And I just kept saying that in my head, even though I knew it was definitely going to be the worst. But I just had this odd mantra of like, what's the best possible outcome? What's the best? So I didn't Google I didn't Google glioma. The only thing I Googled that day was the ratings of the doctor, and it was
Oh.
5 stars. And I
Oh.
said, you know what? That's all I need to know. And I
Sure.
shut my phone down. And then the next day, so I got transferred to a bigger hospital, and the neurosurgeon comes out and he says, I really do think, I don't think this is a brain tumor. What I think this is multiple sclerosis. And so he was almost going to just do a surgery because he was like, I don't think this is a glioma. But then he said, let's just biopsy it just in case. I would hate to take a part of anything out if it's just inflammation. And so we did the biopsy the next day. He comes back out and I just remember him looking at me and he said, this is glioblastoma. And I just remember him saying, like, this is as big as it gets. And I just thought to myself once again, what? Huh? Like,
Mm.
oh, okay. And then I remember I have a friend who has glioblastoma. And I just thought to myself, all right, let's go.
It's the moonrise taking shape. You got the whole world pressed to your face, and when you look around, all you see are stars. So don't give up, 'cause I know there'll be brighter
Everything shifted in that moment. Like, I have someone that has had this for almost 7 years. Um, so there was almost immediately someone in my corner that I knew who had it, is doing well. I mean, there's definitely deficits that she has, and I also have deficits, but it was a little less scary knowing someone that has this and knowing that they're still alive because I got told essentially it's about 12 to 18 months. And they kind of said 16 months is usually the median. And I actually just passed my 16-month marker 2 days ago. So I've
Oh,
made it to 16. Hallelujah. 16 months.
good for you.
And yes, it was a very bittersweet day, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
I actually, through this journey with glioblastoma, I've met quite a few people who have this same condition. And one of my favorite people who I talk to all the time, she had just passed away
Mm.
last Friday. And so I was really happy that I hit 16, but then months. And then now there's part of me that's the amount of people that I've lost along the way who have been
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed after me is like scary. Yeah.
Mm.
And surreal.
I'm curious, in that moment when you got that diagnosis and you had that moment of panic, I guess, kind
Yeah.
of what you described as panic, and then this realization, oh, I have a friend who had that,
Yeah.
and you said, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go. What does that mean?
Yeah.
What are you
It
going? Where are you going?
it's
What are you
kind
doing?
yeah. I was like, okay, like I have this, can't change it. Let's do as much as we can do. Like kind of not taking the control or power back, but just saying, thinking to myself, what are the factors right now that I can change or what can I
Mm,
do? Because especially being an athlete, there's that like, let's do this, let's go.
yeah, that's really interesting. I don't know that I've interviewed somebody that has something like this, like a glioma
Mm-hmm.
or a cancer like this, that has been an athlete like this. And I'm wondering, because what you're describing is very much a little bit of Stoic philosophy. The idea that we don't get to control our circumstances, but we get
Yeah.
to respond to our circumstances, and the one of the most important things we can do in life is to look and assess the things that we have control over and pay attention to those.
Yeah.
And so what I'm hearing you describe
Yes.
is like just like a moment of acceptance of, well, these are my cards.
Mm-hmm.
Now I just need to figure out how
Yep.
to play them. And I'm wondering and kind of guessing that being an athlete like you are had kind of uniquely prepared you for that in some way.
Absolutely.
Huh.
Absolutely. Like, and the most wild thing, there's a photo, the last photo that I have on my phone is while I was on my couch right before I fall, I'm going over these coaching calls for this event that I was doing. And it's like this mindset minutes of how to train your mind for a 36-hour race, which was the race I was doing. And it was just so it was the perfect timing to hear the message that he was talking about. I mean, it was on cue. And I thought, and that's when I think I just quickly grabbed onto, you've been in like crappy situations. So long story short, I did this event in 2023, and it's a long distance event. It pretty much mimics Mount Everest without having to go to Everest. And you have a 36-hour cutoff. And I went to Stratton, Vermont, and it was the worst event they have
Oh
ever
no.
had. It rained 36 hours straight. They almost canceled the event between like the second hour. And I was soaking wet. The wind was relentless. Like, I mean, it was nuts. And I always said, like, after Stratton, if I can do Stratton, I can do anything. Because I did. I mean, I didn't finish the event, but I was out there for the 36 hours, but the mud got me and I couldn't go as fast
Mm-hmm.
as I could in the mud. but it really trained me for the suck, like every variable of like possibility, like you name it, that something would happen. And I just, there's something about that event that I really think
Mm.
prepared me for the journey that I'm on now. It really, because I say to myself multiple times, at least it's not Stratton.
I have a brain tumor, but at least it's not Stratton. Yeah. It's I don't know, fortuitous or lucky, whatever that you have the background you have, and it just seems so quick. I mean, I've sat with a lot of people who have gotten diagnoses, and the time between getting that diagnosis and then working through all of the grief and everything that comes with it, and then coming to a place of acceptance is usually significant. And it, I mean, what you're describing to me, at least, is pretty,
Yeah.
instantaneous,
Yeah,
and that's pretty impressive.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so he came in after your biopsy and told you, and then I assume then surgery and radiation probably.
Yeah. So after being diagnosed, what was also really incredible was my biopsy doctor had a family member who had glioblastoma, and that's why he was interested in becoming a neurosurgeon.
Oh,
And yeah, and so then he goes, I can do this surgery, but I think you'll be in better hands at UCSF, which is University of California, San Francisco. They have a great brain tumor or brain tumor program. And so it was 1 week later, I get sent to surgery. At UCSF, I had an 8 hour awake craniotomy, and which was wild in itself because essentially I'm just talking to them the whole, 5, 6, 7 hours. And I've never, this is going to sound weird. I walked into that OR room, or like got wheeled into the OR room, like in an almost meditative state. I thought to myself, stay awake, stay alert. This is your life. Like, stay awake,
hmm.
stay alert. And I just had this another mantra. And, it went well. And the doctor was actually able to do a full resection, and he even did wider margins. So then brain surgery is wild. You go from, I don't know what they have you on, to Tylenol within about 24 hours. So there's not a lot of nerve receptors. So it's not, brain
Sure.
surgery is
Yeah,
not painful
not painful
at all. And then I leave San Francisco. I go to Cottage Rehab Hospital, which is in Santa Barbara. Definitely, I learned with my right side, the reason why I walked out of my right shoe is at midline, I have no sensation on my body. I can walk and run and hike, but I have no feedback. And so at midline, that's where I lose it. And so I had to get a lot of my strength back. I did the whole where you had to draw a clock. And I tried to explain to her how to draw a clock, but I couldn't draw a clock.
mm-hmm.
But in Cottage Rehab was kind of a interesting experience because actually my best guy friend was my doctor. And I remember when I got assigned to him, he's just like, I can't believe this is happening, Amanda. Like, I cannot believe you are my patient. And then he had this moment of like panic, and then he had to do his whole spiel about what this is and the prognosis of it. But I will say every provider so far has said, because of how athletic you are, because you're in your 40s, we think that we're very hopeful you'll make it to 5 years. That's not a guarantee, but we're really hopeful. And so I feel like this whole time have have been given a very generous prognosis, especially with glioblastoma and how fast it can come back.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I want to talk a little bit about what I have heard people call scanxiety, or this idea of just knowing that. How often are you going in for scans? You're going in
every 10 weeks.
10 weeks. That's, I wonder if you just talk a little bit about how that is for you and then how you deal with it.
Yeah. So I will say this is the MRI. So I have an MRI in October. This is actually the MRI I am most afraid of right now. I have no symptoms. But the amount of like emotional hardship that has happened in the past 4 weeks, I'm thinking, oh no, like if there is going to be any time like for a recurrence, it might be now, because I've just been sad and crying and all over the place emotionally. I didn't eat for a few days because I was pretty sad. But all that to be said, I go to San Francisco. So I actually go on campus at UCSF for my scan. And then my neuro-oncologist will read it about 2 hours later. So there's very not at all. I historically will kind of have my meltdown the night before, where I'm quiet, I'm like really contemplative. I have to seek out something funny to just distract me. And then day of, I just turn my phone off the whole time. I turn my phone off. I hand my phone over to Jesse. And I go into the MRI. What's kind of funny about MRIs is I have now learned how to sleep in them. Like it is, I don't know. I am like it's wild that I can sleep in them. And so the MRIs alone, they don't worry me. And I know that I can always see the screen and I'm like this, because I don't want to think that there's something there or something not there. And then I just get really like contemplative in between those few hours. And I just think to myself, if it's back, you're at UCSF, you're in a good spot. Like this is a great school to be in. But I will say there's indicators that everything's okay, because I'll see my neuro-oncologist and she'll start waving at me and she's like really happy. So I always go, okay, there's no way she's going to tell me these terrible news as she's like, gonna like avoid Amanda at all costs.
Except that now you know that if ever you see her and she's not happily waving at you, that's going to be terrible.
It's bad.
Yeah, right.
And so there's really not a lot that I can do after that. But I will say the night before, I get really kind of like almost like restless. And I know my mom and dad have the way that they deal with it. My mom gets really like very much contemplative for a week leading up to it. And, I just tell my mom, like, there's nothing we can do right now. There's nothing I can do aside from just hearing the results. And then we'll have to have another game plan. But I would say only the night before I am like restless. And then the day of the scan is like, it is what it is. There's no changing it. There's nothing I could have done. And yeah, so I don't have that really bad scan anxiety, but I know a lot of people who do, because it's determinant about their longevity or a recurrence, which is terrifying in this, in cancer in general.
Yeah. How are you doing now? Can you draw a clock?
Yeah, finally.
Oh, good.
Yes,
important life skill. Yeah.
Right. And it's so interesting when it was a clock, because I just thought to myself, like, I know what a clock is, but to be honest, I've never been great at drawing in general. So I don't know if it's the brain cancer or just my lack of ability.
The sound of a kiss we stole from the night. The soft rushing heartbeats of love at first sight. Perfume is drifting in the cool breeze. Dance of two hands, eager to meet. A kiss and two heartbeats ring out on the street. 'Cause kisses and heartbeats don't know how to lie. They're watered with tears and blooming.
Sitting here looking at you, you look healthy, you're
Yeah.
smiling, you're enjoying things. What is life like at the moment?
So this has been probably my hardest month. I know that I let you know, I lost my cat very unexpectedly. He was only 6 years old. And I didn't have human children. So my fur children have always been like my kids. And we lost him just so quickly and so unexpectedly. And because he was so young, there was almost this parallel between him and I. Like we lost him so young. The likelihood of me, making it out of my 50s is not very high. And so sitting with Finn, which is my cat's name, and just watching, like, there's no bringing him back to life, right? He's gone. And I thought to myself in that moment, oh my goodness, this is what my mom and dad are going to have to go through. The likelihood of them outliving me is very high. And so I realized almost right away, I need some help. So I reached out to my neuropsychologist and I said, hey, this is what's happening. She goes, let's talk about it. Let's go through this. And so I feel for the first time, I started to mourn my own mortality or my own journey. So it's been this, I think, a very necessary step of really this is real, this is happening, and also trying to live my life in this space of sadness and sorrow and still putting one foot in front of the other. Like a lot of times I go for walks and I'll have to wear glasses because I'm just tearing up a little bit. So it's, I'm doing the movement, my diet's really good. I, drink a lot of water. And even if everything's going right, I still have those 10 minutes or 20 minutes where I'm just bleh, losing it, crying. And then, like I said, the closest person that I've met along the way with glioblastoma, she passed away last Friday. And oh man, it just hit home even harder. She's a year younger than me, and she is an incredible person. And I just think to myself, wow, I've told myself from the get-go, every day is a gift. Every day that I wake up is a gift. And even if it's a gift, it can still be so hard. So hard.
Thank you for saying that, because I think a lot of times I talk to people who are, living with serious illness that's likely going to take their life. And I catch them on good days, right? We're doing this recording, you're laughing, we're having a good time. And I think sometimes people get this idea that, every day is a gift, like you're saying. And these people are just living their best life and enjoying themselves, and which is, I think, probably true. But as a good friend of mine always says, two things can be true. And it can be true that every day is a gift and you want to live it as well as you possibly can. And at the same time, mourning what you thought your life was going to be and the fact that your parents are likely going to outlive you. And that you are losing people that you know and love.
Yep.
before you think they should be gone.
Right.
And yeah, so just I think it's important to highlight
Mm-hmm.
that even the people who are out here doing their best to live their best
Yeah.
life and to treat every day as a gift also feel grief and
Yeah.
sadness. And yeah, so
Yeah.
thank you for saying so.
Yeah.
What do you make of all this? Um, and by that I mean, you have friends with glioblastoma, and they have passed away before you did.
Yeah.
And why? I mean,
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
what's
Yeah.
all this about?
No one knows really exactly what causes glioblastoma. There's a lot of theories, but there's no real like concrete evidence. A lot of the people that I know are, in their 30s and 40s, like very somewhat active, somewhat healthy. And you just think, why? Like, why? It's very interesting. A lot of the times I never say why for myself. I always say why
Mm,
about other people.
yeah.
And it is just such a hard disease to wrap your mind around. One, it's a lot of people have never heard of it before. Brain cancer is, rare. And I think my biggest question is like, why isn't there more drugs? Why isn't there
Mm,
more studies? Why is it, that's usually the questions that I have is like, I know that like funding has been pulled for a lot of clinical trials. And I know glioblastoma got 100% of their funding cut. And I just thought, you hope that there's some backer or someone who's like very invested in it who wants to keep, wants to fund trials and stuff. And luckily, as of today, I don't need a trial, but there's so many people that I know that do need a trial. And so the why is like, why isn't funding getting put towards brain cancer? All cancers deserve funding for sure.
sure.
But hopefully, my hope is that brain cancer somehow gets on the radar.
Yeah. Well, it's probably the one that's most on your mind, right?
Yeah, yes.
When we talked before, you talked about how you haven't seen your cancer as like an enemy,
Yeah.
and you've really tried to meet it with love.
Hmm.
And I wonder if you would just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
Where did that come from, and how do you do that?
Yeah. So that came extremely natural to me.
Mm,
I remember almost unanimously people saying, like my friends and family, oh, I can't wait to evict this tumor. I can't wait to evict the unwanted guest. And I thought to myself, that's part of me. So
mm,
it's part of me. So you have to love it too. And I don't think everyone got on board with that. Everyone's like, get out. And I just remember another thing is I had so much faith in my surgeon and the medical team. And I think we all kind of set the precedent of like, this is going to be a loving journey or a loving journey of start to finish where I can't change the fact that I have cancer, but I can inhabit it with love. I mean, I don't love that it happened, but it happened and I still want to not be angry at my life or mad at my life or my circumstances or anything. So it was always going to be this loving journey of through, I mean, even during chemo, I would, we had my partner and we had this almost ritual where we would take the chemo out of the bag. We would say, three or four things that we're grateful for today. And we would go outside with the chemo, and the chemo was pill form. So you just swallow it. And then we would go, I would just like say a prayer, like, thank you for even having this medication. And so it was never like it has to go, or it's something that I need to fight, or it's something like, F cancer. And like, bless the people who want that, but it was just never going to be my thing. And so a lot of this experience has been very much under the microscope of like love and acceptance and um, gratitude,
Mm.
honestly, because as I just said, there's people who got less time than I did. So I don't want to be angry with cancer, and I don't want to be angry with anything. I have, like I said, I have these moments where there's the sorrow and there's the sadness and there's the longing for what my life could have looked like. But that's like very few and far between. A lot of the times, honestly, I forget that I have cancer until someone says it. I'm like, oh yeah. That, or they see my hair and they're like, what happened? I get told all the time, oh, you're so brave for that haircut. I'm like, okay, thank you. That's bravery.
Yeah. I appreciate the way you see it,
Mm-hmm.
that this is your life
Yeah.
and cancer is a part of your life. It's, first of all, it doesn't seem like, if you're forgetting that you have cancer, it doesn't
Yeah.
seem like the focus of your life,
Yeah.
but it is part of your life. And I really appreciate this desire to not be angry at
Yeah.
a part of your life,
Mm-hmm.
resisting meeting it with some kind of a fight. Of course, there are people that find value in that,
Oh,
and of
absolutely.
more power to them if that
Mm-hmm.
is helpful to them. And this is a different perspective that I don't know that I've heard it quite that way, and I really appreciate it. It's instructive to all of us, because there are things in my life, right, that
Yeah.
I'm not really happy about, and I can easily get sucked into being angry or outraged about things that I don't have any control over, that
Mm-hmm.
just are. They
Yeah.
are. They are part of my life, and I could, if I allowed myself, just spend my time being angry at a thing that is already happening. What good does it do me? None at all.
Yeah.
It just makes me be angry, which is, not a great feeling and not helpful most of the time,
Right.
right? So,
Right.
well, thank you. Thanks for sharing.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. You talked a little bit about your faith when we talked before, your faith.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell me a little bit about that and how that kind of plays into how you see things and what you're expecting as you move forward?
Yeah, I like we talked about before, I grew up Catholic. My parents decided they didn't want to baptize us, they wanted us to choose. And so I was never baptized Catholic. And then I went to a non-denominational church, of which the pastor is Pastor Sean, and his wife is the one that had glioblastoma and still has it. Um, so I went more like a non-denominational route. And then I I have a really hard time with suffering and
Mm,
human suffering and animal suffering and anyone suffering. And so I kind of went away from the church, but it was really interesting because I still very much brought like Jesus with me. Like the whole Jesus is my homeboy. I'm like, yeah, he's my friend. And I don't know if, I mean, maybe he was just a human and a really great human. Who knows? But it's really interesting when I have the really good days, I'll almost do the looking up and thinking of like, thank you so much for this. And then on the hard days, he's almost nowhere to be, like
mm,
not be found, but I'm not searching for him in those moments because it's like not his fault. Right. And,
mm,
but what's been really interesting to me lately is I've been watching these like near death experiences and how they talk about, um, they were gone for 20, 30 minutes and they were just surrounded with love and light and just unconditional love. And that is really what I think, what I hope is going to be what awaits on the other side.
Mm.
I really, I'm starting to get more into like spirituality in the sense of just really opening my eyes to the near death experiences or people who have passed on and they feel like they see signs or anything. And so I've been really making peace with the fact that, you know, I believe my timeline is going to be shorter than I thought it was going to be. And I'm very happy to like read these books because it kind of gives me some hope that there is something on the other side. There is something after death. And I love how everyone framed it is like you just walk into this like unconditional love,
Mm.
unconditional acceptance, and I do feel that is that's true for me. I don't know. I'm not like a scholar or anything. I just don't know if all these world religions are not based in love and unconditional acceptance and come as you are. And so that's what I've been thinking about as long as in regards to the afterlife or what happens
Mm.
after we leave this place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, yeah. I mean, it's hard to know, right? I mean,
Yeah.
obviously hard to know.
Right.
Nobody
Yeah.
knows.
Mm-hmm.
And all the people that have the near death experiences, I get myself into a place, when I hear those of thinking, oh yeah, there probably is something else afterwards. And then, if you catch me on a different day and I just feel like, probably not. I
Same.
don't know. I don't know. I really don't know.
100% agree with you.
I have my hopes.
Yeah.
And I think that probably, right, like you said, it's going to be good on the other side,
Yeah.
whatever it is, either
Yeah.
complete peace, complete love, or nothing at all, and I won't know anything about it.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I'm not afraid in that way, but
Yeah.
I certainly still. I was. I went and presented to a group earlier this week, and somebody asked about uh, if I was doing this work for as long as I've done it. Am I still afraid of death and
Mm.
dying? And I mean, the answer is yes. I still am I'm not afraid of what happens on the other side because that's unknowable. And I mean, there is a little bit of the fear of the unknown, but I haven't seen anything or experienced anything that's made me think that there's something to be feared on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, I don't want to say goodbye. And
Yeah.
that's really the thing that, that patients and families struggle with the most, if I'm being honest, is
Oh, yeah.
the struggle with leaving what they know to be uh, most of the time a good life in some way or another, and at least leaving their family and friends who they love very much.
Yeah.
And as you were talking about having those moments of sadness, I was thinking that the moments of sadness are sad and they're an indication that there's something good here. And
Mm-hmm.
Because if you were so excited to die, the
Right.
leaving this obviously wouldn't be that big a deal, and
Right.
the people patients that would say to me, I just don't want my family to be sad when I die. And my response was always, what do you think is going to happen? They're not going to be happy, and you don't want them
Right.
to be happy. I
Right.
understand that you don't want them to suffer, and that's just the part of it. So I don't know. As you were talking about the sadness, I think that my take on that is that the sadness is okay
Mm-hmm.
because it indicates that there's something good going on here,
Yeah.
um,
Yes.
and you can be sad for a little while.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll hold on tighter to you. I'll We'll just head down, carry on, 'cause what else can we do but get through? And we'll sing hallelujah, but what is that to you right now? But let's talk in a way that can give us some faith to go around. We'll hold tight as we can.
Well, how how are your people doing with all of this?
My my dad, who historically like really never says anything, he's like, "You're fine." He's like, "I don't even worry about you." I'm like, "Oh, okay." But so dad's completely on board. My mom, she's been a nurse her whole life, and I
Yeah.
remember hearing my mom while everyone was in the waiting room with the biopsy. My mom or Dr. Hendricks comes out and says what it is, like glioblastoma, and my mom just like started cussing, and
Mm,
because she knew exactly what that meant. I don't think anyone else did, but she did. And so I'm the baby of the family, and um, so I think it's really hard for her to see her youngest going through this. And um, what's been really nice is we've had 16 months with this. So there's a lot of people that I've been able to see. And I'm so thankful that it wasn't this like really quick um, prognosis, because I have had time to say everything that I've wanted to say to the people, and the amount of people who have visited. And um, just, I realize how important the small things are. So, like
mm,
the couch that I'm sitting on right now, um, I can't, like, hundreds of people have come over, sat on this couch, sat with me with coffee or just a conversation over these past 16 months. And really just, it's the small things, like a cup of coffee with a friend, which are really the big things. Um, I remember my neuro-oncologist saying, "Where do you want to go in the world?" I said, "I love where I live. And, I'm totally happy just spending time with my friends and family and like my little cats." And, like life is really simple. And with this diagnosis, I do believe everything comes, like everything that's like kind of the BS and the stress and the everything just gets kind of wiped away, because what's important is just your connections
mm.
and your friends, your family, your partner, things that you love, like even, trying to find purpose and meaning in this type of situation.
Yeah.
And it's small. And I tell my friends all the time, let's host dinners with each other, so we're not having to spend a bunch of money. And I just really just like enjoying my people and my friends and my family. Again, it's just the little things that are the big things right now.
Yeah. I find that to be true for
Yeah,
most people, even most people who I talk to who are living with illness like
yeah.
this. It Even the people who have a bucket list and want to
Hmm.
check things off, those things are big, and they are a thing, and I think
Yeah,
sometimes they are important. But for most people, the things, even with the bucket list, the things that are really actually the most important are what you said:
yeah.
spending time with family and friends, the connections
Yep.
that you have.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and right, there's no time for
No.
BS.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. That was I did one trip. I went to Sedona, Arizona.
Mm,
Um, I love hiking, absolutely love hiking. It's definitely by far my favorite mode of exercise. And that place was stunning. And I did tell myself, I never have been to Europe or anywhere near there. I'm like, yeah, and I don't need to. But going back to Sedona, that place was gorgeous. And so I think I'm going to maybe try to do it my birthday's next month. And so I might try to go again, which is it's only a 1 hour flight away. And I
Oh,
don't
yeah.
want to,
It's not far.
yeah, I don't want to be too far away from UCSF. There's quite a few people who are like, you need to do the bucket list things. You need to go and travel the world. And I'm thinking to myself, yeah, that might be what you want to do if you had this, but I'm totally fine. And there's so many people that think I'm in denial. And I'm like, sorry, guys, this is it. Like, I love coffee. I love my friends. I love my family. That's it.
Get your
And
coconut milk latte.
yes, I still get one like every scam because I did radically change my diet and no one told me to do it. I just researched a little bit about it. And so my diet's extremely different than it used to be, but I can still enjoy that coconut milk latte every scan. I'm like, yep.
That's great. That's great. I want to start wrapping up. I got a couple of things down the road. I'm hoping 5 years, 10 years.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. There's going to be a time when you're coming to the end of your life.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have ideas or thoughts about how you want that to be?
Yes. I did choose the right to die. That was something that I got asked early on because of how fast it can be. But what I've learned through friends who have passed away, a lot of the time the end looks very peaceful. It looks very, someone just sleeps a little bit more. And so if that was the case, I think I would just love to be at home. My mom's a nurse, so she's already has said that, I did tell her, I'm like, I don't want you and dad to bathe me. So that's all I ask is don't do that. But if it is as peaceful as what some of the friends of family members of the glioblastoma friends that I've met along the way, it sounds somewhat peaceful. But I'm hopeful if I'm on steroids and I can't sleep and I'm breathing very heavy, that would be the call to do the end of life. Cocktail is essentially what it is. And I just have to have 2 doctors sign off on it. UCSF has already agreed. So has UCLA, because that's my other provider. So that would be determined on what happens afterwards. I am actually reading this book, and it's called The Beginner's Guide to the End by B.J. Miller. And it's like a step-by-step of what paperwork you need. Like you need a before I die file. So I'm working on that, like actively working on that. So I've already done my funeral playlist of the songs that I want. So I'm actively being able to plan my own funeral and everything now. So my parents and my partner don't have to even think about it. It's already done. I went on the Neptune Society. So I decided I wanted to be cremated. And so that's already in place, and really just kind of knocking these things out now when I have the chance. So it's not a burden for everyone else in the end. And they'll know, and heaven forbid, if they mess with my playlist, I will haunt them because I worked really hard on that. And it's going to be like funny music, ridiculous music. There's rap songs in there that people are going to be like, this is so Amanda. Like, this is something she would like punk everybody at her own funeral. I'm like,
that's so great. We recently had somebody on who did a very similar thing, and the very first song on her playlist was Bone Thugs and Harmony. Crossroads. Do you know or mind sharing the first song on your playlist?
Oh my gosh! So it's are we allowed to cuss on here?
Sure.
It's
Chris can bleep it if I need to.
Okay, it's Back That Ass Up. Just because it's a funny song and everyone is juvenile, and I just want people to initially just go, is this on purpose? Like, is someone really doing that? And then so Bone Thugs and Harmony. I mean that's my era. So
yeah, it's both of our eras. Yeah, you're 43, 44.
I'll be 44 next month.
Okay. Yeah. I'm 46.
Yep.
We
We're
are
babies.
right there. Yeah. Okay. Well, you already talked about a little bit about your thoughts on the afterlife. Do you have anything else you want to say about that? Do you think that you will be able to haunt somebody if they?
Oh, 100. If I can, guaranteed it will happen. I'm going to go after my sister first for all the time she's been mean.
I think that is a first on Dying to Tell You, a promise to haunt people. All right. So the last question we ask everybody is, how do you want to be remembered?
I want to be remembered for just really meeting people where they are, for being kind, for being just kind to animals, people, everybody. And I really can sit with someone and we can have polar opposite views on things and still treat someone with like love and respect, even if we're like absolutely disagreeing on every single thing. I do know that that is something that that would be a legacy, is that I can sit with people, have nothing in common with them, and still treat them kindly.
More of that, please. I could use a lesson or two.
I'm not perfect all the time, that's for sure. Like okay. Some things come out of my mouth, I'm like, uh-oh.
Well, it's a lovely goal, and I hope that people remember you that way. That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, maybe we can connect either before or after your next scan and talk a little bit about how that was.
Yeah, absolutely.
A couple months away, so
okay, that sounds great.
I guess a month.
Yeah,
right? A month.
It's 3 weeks. Oh, it's on the 10th.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah, let's connect and we can talk a little bit about how that was for you.
Okay, perfect.
Cool. Well, Amanda, thank you so much. This has been
thank you.
Great. Yeah, thank you very much. All right.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Amanda, for being a guest and for honestly telling your story. I particularly appreciate the juxtaposition of enjoying the life that you have and your honesty about the anxiety that you carry with you. After the interview, Amanda had a scan that was clear. And just before this was released, Amanda had another scan. I'll let you know next week how that scan went. Amanda is currently training for an endurance event, the same event she was training for in 2024 when she was diagnosed. While she's training, she's hoping to raise $5,000 for Stash Strong, a nonprofit organization that has raised over $6 million for brain cancer research. If you would like to support Amanda in her effort to raise money for research, please click the link in the show notes. Thank you as always to the producer, Chris Rock, and thank you all for listening. If you want to help support this podcast, be sure to subscribe on your preferred podcast platform. And if you haven't already, leave a rating and review, as long as you're going to say nice things. Happy New Year to all our listeners. Make it what you want it to be. This is Dying to Tell You.